everybody, and welcome to the WRESTLEDUDE YouTube channel. As here today, I'm going to fantasy book how WWE should break up the faction Retribution. So for the past couple of months, they've been running this angle of like this invading group. It started out with them like throwing, actually it started out with a tweet. They tweeted out, like the WWE Twitter account tweeted out that there was going to be this invading faction on Monday Night Raw. And from the start, that just kind of seemed like a weird thing. Like, they're this invading faction, yet you're announcing them through a tweet. Like, what did they tell you? Did they send you an email saying that they were going to be invading? It was just very weird from the beginning. And then the first night, they had like the lights flickering on and off. They had like some boxes knocked over backstage, and then they threw a Molotov cocktail at like a generator outside, which was making the lights flicker on and off. That was their first night. And then there was like a chainsaw that they used to like cut the ring ropes and stuff like that. They spray painted some stuff, and then they started only attacking on Monday Night Raw, and they never attacked on pay-per-view and stuff like that. And then there was a bunch of them at first, and all of them were kind of short. Like, they fluctuated in size, and then finally when the WWE, I guess, figured out what members or what people they wanted to actually be the main group, then everybody quickly figured out who the heck they were, and then finally they like took off their hoods and stuff like that and showed off like brand new masks, which looked stupid. And then they had their first match, and their new names were announced, and I think collectively everyone around the world groaned and was angry and annoyed and thought it was very, very stupid, which it was. And then later on, Mustafa Ali joined and became the leader, which was pretty cool. And then they were like off TV for a little bit because of COVID reasons, and then they were supposed to have like a segment on the draft where Ali explained how he was the leader. That never happened. And then the following week they had like a freaking match with the Hurt Business, which they lost, and then they all got beaten up by the Fiend, which made them look pretty bad. And then Ali cut a promo in the backstage area explaining that he was the SmackDown hacker and how Retribution is still kind of a threat. All of that was very, very stupid, except for the Ali thing. The Ali thing was pretty cool. I was interested to see where it went after that, but obviously from what I've seen right now, and as of filming this on 10/23/2020, it just doesn't seem interesting anymore. Everybody in this group seems dead right now. One of the members of the group is already gone. Like, when they unmasked at first, there was two females. It was Mia Yim and Mercedes Martinez. Mia Yim is now the only woman in Retribution. Mercedes Martinez is gone, which thank goodness for her, but kind of sucks for the rest of them. But I think I have a way of breaking up Retribution without making anybody look all the way bad, having all of them go their own separate ways with interesting stories and stuff like that, and hopefully save what the WWE have really messed up. Because I like all of these wrestlers. I mean, I've talked before about how big of a fan I am of Mia Yim, but all the wrestlers in this are really great wrestlers, and I feel like they can do a hell of a lot better than going out there wearing gimp masks with nicknames that you would only think of being like people of the Joker's henchmen. Like, it was just very, very stupid stuff. So I'm gonna go and try and fantasy book how I would break up Retribution in the WWE. Now, the only thing that I would have to change for this is cut out the line from Mustafa Ali's promo about him being the SmackDown hacker. That's kind of a big reveal at the end. So cut that out. Everything else can kind of just, I guess, stay the same. I don't know, I would change that Mercedes Martinez was never in the group to begin with, because that just made it seem very, very weird. Also, now that I'm thinking about it, since we have the core group of Retribution, who the heck were all the extras? Were they just hired people, like fans that Mustafa Ali hired to come with him or stuff like that? I don't know, it was just very weird. Anyways, let's get started. It's been like 5 minutes and I haven't even gotten started on this. Anyways, so the whole start to this starts with the build-up to Survivor Series. Now, every year for the past couple of years, Survivor Series has been Raw versus SmackDown, brand supremacy, and there have been like some pretty cool moments with it, like the SmackDown Under Siege and stuff like that. That was very cool. I like those moments where like they invade each other's shows, and it seems a little bit easier since they're all in the Thunderdome right now. I feel like that can be a pretty cool visual of like maybe like during Raw, the SmackDown superstars kind of peek their heads up over like the Thunderdome screens and then they attack. I don't know, that would be pretty cool. But for this story, I'm having it start on a SmackDown show. So during SmackDown, the Monday Night Raw superstars invade. They come out and they're face-to-face with a whole bunch of SmackDown guys, and then before they attack each other, Retribution run out. And so now you have 3 different units. You have Raw, you have SmackDown, and then you have Retribution. And Retribution lay out both teams. So Raw and SmackDown have taken out, Retribution stand tall, and leading into Survivor Series will be Team Raw versus Team SmackDown versus Retribution. Because last year they did Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT, and NXT won, and then it just never got mentioned except for like one night on NXT where they had like a big party at the beginning to celebrate it. And now it kind of just feels like Raw and SmackDown are just so butthurt. They're like, nah, we're not gonna include NXT in Survivor Series this year. We can't afford getting beaten up by the rookies. Which, then again, Retribution is full of NXT people, so you're still technically getting your butt handed to you by rookies. But the way that Survivor Series will work this year is a little bit different. Instead of having like all the champion matches and stuff like that against each other, and then have the 5-on-5 matchup, I'm thinking have the Retribution members all compete in singles matches, or not really singles matches, have Retribution compete in the matches throughout the night, and then at the end of the night, they all come back together and they face off in the 5-on-5 tag team matchup. Now, why would they do that where they're in multiple matches throughout the night? Well, Mustafa Ali, leading up to this, cut the promo how he's saying like he's very confident that Retribution will still have the numbers advantage and still win even if they're competing in multiple matches, and they'll prove that Retribution is still a threat. That's kind of my reasoning for why they would want to compete in multiple matches. Anyways, the matches for Survivor Series will be a triple threat between Mia Yim or Reckoning. I'm just going to try and call them by their real names if I can remember. I think the only one... No, I do remember. Dio Madden. That was the only one that I was having trouble remembering. I was just going to call him Mace. Dio Madden has the coolest look out of all the members of Retribution. She looks like a fucking predator. It looks... not that kind of predator. The monster predator. Jeez, crazy. Anyways, triple threat match. Mia Yim versus Bayley versus Asuka. I'm pretty sure Bayley won't be the SmackDown Women's Champion at Survivor Series, but I don't know. I'm not confident in Sasha winning at Hell in a Cell, so I'm just putting them out here like this. So it'll be Mia Yim versus Bayley versus Asuka in the triple threat match. Mia Yim will win the matchup by stealing the win. Bayley will have like laid out Asuka, or Asuka will have laid out Bayley or something like that. And then Mia Yim will come up from behind, toss them out of the ring, and then steal the pinfall for herself. So Mia Yim gets the big win here on Survivor Series over both the Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. Then you have TBar, Dominik Dijakovic, versus Keith Lee in a singles match. Obviously, these two have done some awesome stuff together. Keith Lee is going to win this matchup after a hard-fought battle, but Keith Lee is going to win. Then you'll have Mustafa Ali versus Ricochet. Ali will win that one. Then you have Mace and Slapjack as a tag team against the New Day and the Street Profits in that triple threat matchup. And the New Day are going to win by pinning Slapjack. And then you have Team Raw versus Team SmackDown versus Retribution. These aren't all the matches that I'm sure are going to take place on Survivor Series. They're just all the ones that are concerned with the story. I'm sure there will be some matchup between the Universal Champion and the WWE Champion. Maybe. I don't know. And then in the main event, I'm going to have Raw and SmackDown. Both teams of Raw and SmackDown finally realize that they need to work together to get rid of Retribution, so they do. So Raw and SmackDown work together. They eliminate all the members of Retribution to where it just comes down to Raw and SmackDown, and then from there, I don't really care which team wins. It could be SmackDown. I like SmackDown better. It's 2 hours. I know for a long time their creative sucked, but I mean, you can't beat 2 hours over 3 hours. I really wish Raw would go back to 3 hours. And this kind of protects Retribution because, you know, they did compete in matches earlier in the night, and they had both teams going after them at the same time, so it kind of protects them. Like, we were kind of beaten, battered, and bruised, and you guys took advantage of us, but, you know, that's the hubris of Mustafa Ali with the group known as Retribution. So, after Survivor Series, it is announced that because Mia Yim won that triple threat match, and if she pinned Asuka or she pinned Bayley, she pinned one of the champions. She pinned a champion, so she beat Asuka in that matchup. So Mia Yim is being awarded a Raw Women's Championship match, but Mustafa Ali tells her that she cannot focus on the championship match. She has to focus on the main mission of destroying the WWE. But Mia Yim explains that her reasoning for joining Retribution was because she wanted more opportunities. She didn't get a lot of opportunities in NXT, and now that she has this big opportunity to be the Raw Women's Champion, she figured that Ali would be proud of her success. But if he can't accept her success, then Mia Yim says that she's done. She takes off the mask, she throws it down, and then undramatic reveal, I'm going to prove why everyone should pay attention to me, not Reckoning, but me, Mia Yim. And then she storms off, and then that's the first member of Retribution that is gone. So the next two members to fall are going to be Mace and Slapjack, and the way that I'm going to break these two off from Retribution are, I'm going to have Retribution, I would have this happen in the same segment where Mia Yim storms off, and then Mace and Slapjack kind of tap Ali on the shoulder, and they're like, hey, we want to be champions too. We were really close to winning at Survivor Series. We want the Raw I was going to say, we want the Raw Women's Championship. We want the Raw Tag Team titles, and Ali stubbornly agrees. So later on in the night, Retribution, they attack the New Day. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods say that they will defend the Raw Tag Team titles against Retribution next week. And then also TBar says that he wants a rematch against Keith Lee next week. So not only will we have a Raw Tag Team title match, we will also have a rematch between Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. So a lot of cool matches set up for Retribution. So the following week, the show will open with the Raw Tag Team title match, and it's going to be a really good match. The New Day are always good. They always do those super cool like double team moves, and I feel like Mace and Slapjack can prove themselves as a really good team together, especially Shane Thorne, who is Slapjack. Shane Thorne was always a really good tag team guy, especially in TM61 in NXT, so I'd love to see that kind of stuff again. Even the stuff he did earlier this year with, who was it, Brendan Vink, in that like short-lived tag team, he did some really cool stuff, and I'd love to see him do some awesome stuff here with Mace or Dio Madden. So yeah, Retribution, they're about to win the matchup, but Xavier Woods starts to make the comeback, and then all of a sudden Woods gets a little comeback. He like shoves Mace or like kicks him or something and makes Mace like kind of stumble back into his team's corner, and then Ali calls for Slapjack to tag himself in to go and stop Xavier Woods. Slapjack tags himself in. Xavier Woods makes the hot tag to Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston runs wild. Xavier Woods takes out Mace, and then Kofi hits Slapjack with Trouble in Paradise for the win. They retain the tag team titles, and it's because of Mustafa Ali telling Slapjack to tag himself in. So following the matchup, Mace at first gets very angry at Slapjack for possibly costing them the matchup, but then Slapjack is shaking him off. No. He lifts up the mask so his voice can be heard clearly to Mace, and he explains that Ali told him to tag himself in, and then Mace turns his attention to Ali, and then Mace, or Dio Madden, slowly takes off his mask and tosses it like out of the ring in anger, and he's screaming like, "We had that! You ruined it for us!" Before Mace taps Slapjack on the shoulder and says like, "Let's get out of here, we're done." And that's two more members of Retribution gone. So now we have Mia Yim going after the Raw Women's Championship, and now we have Mason Slapjack as the tag team breaking off and hopefully staying in the tag team division so they can have more awesome matches with the likes of the New Day and people like that. And finally, we have one more member of Retribution to get rid of, or break off, and that is TBar. So later in the night, Mustafa Ali cuts a promo backstage, and there's a little table, and it has each mask of every person from Retribution that is left. And he says that they were all weak, but at least now we know who among us is the strongest and who will focus on the plan. And it starts with TBar beating Keith Lee tonight. It's Ali trying to convince himself that Retribution is still strong and Retribution is still a threat, even though there are only 2 people in it now. I guess except for the extras, the random extra members, I don't know. So later on in the night, TBar versus Keith Lee will main event the show, because I definitely do feel like that is a big main event matchup. And throughout the match, Mustafa Ali is at ringside with TBar, and he's instructing TBar on what to do. And after a while, you can tell that TBar is starting to get annoyed with this, because obviously Dominik Dijakovic has had several matches with Keith Lee, so he knows exactly what to do. He doesn't need Ali telling him what to do, but he keeps doing it. And then at one point, the referee gets knocked down during the matchup, and Ali sees this as an opportunity to get into the ring and help TBar by taking out Keith Lee himself. He can get in using a chair too, but before he can attack Keith Lee pounces him, uses the pounce, the big shoulder tackle, and launches Ali into T-Bar, knocking both of them down, and then Ali will roll out of the ring. T-Bar's groggy, Keith Lee lifts him up, Spirit Bomb, 1, 2, 3, Keith Lee wins again, and it's because of, once again, Ali trying to get involved in the matchup, kind of like how he did with the tag team matchup, and it costs Retribution another win. And then after the matchup, T-Bar is furious and starts cutting a promo on Ali, saying like, I don't need to listen to you, and I won't listen to you anymore. And then T-Bar, I wouldn't even have him just take it off. I would have him grab the mask and like tear it off, because I feel like those masks are very cheap. It kind of seems like they're made out of plastic, so I feel like it would be a cooler visual if you just like grab the mask and like tear it off, pull it off like that. That could be pretty cool. And he throws it on the ground, stomps on it with his foot before walking off. That is the last member of Retribution to leave, and Mustafa Ali is left in the ring, and he's kind of like looking around a little bit broken, but also he's kind of like laughing it off, like he's like kind of losing his marbles here. He's like laughing it off, and then he picks up the microphone again, and he starts to explain like, I should have seen this coming, you know? If you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. And he's like, I don't know why people hate me. Like, I'm a good person. I tried to be a good person, you know? I helped people. I exposed Dolph Ziggler and Sonya Deville, and what did I get for it? I got locked out. Well, now I'm back in. And then all of a sudden, Ali reaches into his back pocket, and he pulls out his glove that has the little circular light on it. Ali puts it on, and then he says, and now the SmackDown hacker is here on Monday Night Raw. And then Ali raises his hand, and then when he raises his hand with the glove with the light on it, all the lights in the arena start to flicker and go out until all of a sudden the only light left is the light on his glove. And then finally, he closes his hand, the light on the glove goes out, and then the show goes into complete darkness. The show statics out, and then the last 5 minutes on air of Monday Night Raw is just a static image of Mustafa Ali's hacker gimmick circular light. The big image of the circular light. That is the last 5 minutes of Monday Night Raw. And then we have all members of Retribution gone, doing their own thing. And Mustafa Ali now has his hacker gimmick, and it's a really cool reveal. A lot better than just some random throwaway line in a backstage promo. Ali now has a direction. He can kind of have like the Sami Callihan gimmick in Impact Wrestling, where he's like a hacker. He has like an iPhone or something like that, where like he can click it and like make the lights flicker and go out. Ali has the glove. He can make the lights flicker and go out. You know, I feel like that would be pretty cool. So yeah, that's kind of how I would break up Retribution, have them all go their own separate ways, and have them all do it in really cool fashions. So you've got Mia Yim going after the Women's Championship, you got Mason Slapjack as a tag team, you got TBar as a singles competitor, and possible #1 contender contender for the WWE Championship later on down the line, and then you have Mustafa Ali with his hacker gimmick. So let me know in the comment section below. Do you guys like this idea of how to book Retribution and how to break them up and how to do it in a cool way? What stuff would you change? What stuff would you keep the same? Let me know in the comment section below. And are there any other ideas that you would like to see me fantasy book? Let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see you guys later.